Hi everybody, welcome to Fast Home Brew. Doing the same thing as last time with a wheat kit because the last one didn't turn, well, you all know what happened, right? So, yeah, giving the old Cooper's premium range, I think they call it the Thomas Cooper's range wheat kit a go. Got some Munich yeast, and this is 900 grams each of ale and wheat malt that's going to be my mini mash. So let's see if I can explain it a bit better this time too. Let's get going. Okay. So I'm starting with, I think, either 5 or 6 litres of water that I'm going to bring up to between 63 and 70 degrees to steep the grains in. And by steep, I mean mash. So that process extracts the sugar from the crushed grains, and in that way I am creating basically my own malt extract with, actual malt instead of it being sort of artificially, well, not artificially created, but instead of the pre-prepared one, I'm making my own from scratch, which is nice. So here's the water at the right temperature. In goes one of the bags of stuff. I can't tell exactly which one it is. There's the other one going in. Actually, that looks like it might be the wheat. So yeah, I reckon 1.8 kilograms should be a nice amount to go into a kit. It'll be a little bit on the lighter side of sort of your standard beer, but whatever. So that is going into the oven. The oven I'm about to switch off. Yep. The oven's at 70 degrees. That's just to keep the temperature nice and constant. So it's at a constant temperature for an hour to get all the sugar out and turn it into the stuff that I need. And there it is. So now this comes out of the bag. No, it stays in the bag and the bag comes out of the pot. And then I rinse it with the hot water there. That's not freshly boiled, that's been sitting there for a few minutes, and that's just going to get me sort of the last bits of goodness out. And it was too hot to squeeze straight away, so I've just let it sit, and now I'm squeezing it properly, and I think, am I all done? Yep, the heat's going on, and so I'm going to bring that to a boil for, I think, half an hour. Anyway, wait for it to boil. So now I'm cleaning my gear. This is the sodium percarbonate that I use for cleaning. So, you know the difference between cleaning and sanitizing, right? Aiming this at beginners, by the way, in case you haven't picked that up. You got to have your equipment... Oh, it's boiling, so I'll put the timer on for half an hour. Got to have your equipment clean to get rid of all the muck. Then you sanitize it to get rid of all the bugs that might remain, that are invisible and that you can't see. So, there's my yeast that I'm using, and it's time to put the kit into a bath of hot water. That will just make it a little easier for me to pour, as you'll see in a second. And now it looks like I'm sanitizing everything. So, I rinsed all this with hot water, by the way. I didn't show that. So after I clean it with my sodium percarbonate, I rinse it with hot water. I use 10 grams a litre. And this is just my Star Sand solution that I'm making sure it gets on everything nicely. Now the stuff is done. So that's really way too hot. So I need to bring it down temperature. You might have seen me stuff the cloth into the plug hole then. That's just to stop the water draining out too quickly. So, don't have to run the tap full bore. And now I just wait for the temperature on that to come down. I've got a thermometer in there so that I can sort of monitor it. And there we go. So that's come down to, I don't know what, but I think I probably would have been aiming for about 30 to 35 degrees. I've also got some ice that I'll put in a minute, but you'll see that. Now I'm straining it into the fermenter. Last time I didn't strain. I don't know why I decided to strain this time, but anyway, whatever. That got strained in. This is the kit now, the lid coming off of that, and that gets poured in, and you see that pours nicely. Very good, very good. And now we'll clean that by putting in some very hot water and stirring it around and sort of scraping down the sides. So, and don't touch this is very hot, so I use a tea towel, and that's nice and clean. So the whole lot's in there, I got every last bit. This is my ice block that I'm talking about. I usually make about 4 of these. I think they're 1 litre containers, so that's a 1 kilo block of ice. Such as the power of the metric system, the convenience, let's say. Now I'm filling it with water to like the 23 litre mark, except I'm leaving a little bit, so it's probably 22.5 for the stuff that I'll add on bottling day. And checking the temperature, and it's actually a little bit too hot, so I'm going to end up putting another block of ice in. And I thought the tap water would bring it down more than it did. And now I'm happy with the temperature, so I'm going to take the remainder of the block out. So that's a little more volume than I wanted, but maybe I'll get an extra half a beer out of it at the end. Okay, sanitize my scissors there. This is the yeast going in, using Munich yeast, I think, on this one, which is kind of a wheaty, friendly one. And are we done? No, taking a sample, and oh yeah, get rid of the first one because it might be a little bit thick. Have a look at my sample, have a look at my lies video if you haven't seen it. And now this goes up to the shed, so this is going to sit there and ferment in my fridge at, I think I've got it set to like 19 or 20 degrees, and I usually give it a full 2 weeks, just so that it fully ferments and then cleans up after itself, and we're done. So, I hope I explained the purpose of everything well enough then. As I said, trying to make this one kind of for beginners to help them understand, and hopefully make the next step, because getting rid of the extract will, in theory, make it taste a lot more like real beer, a little bit less like homebrew. Alright, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, etc, 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 etc.